there.
Here. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. All right.
Lighting could be a little bit better. That's probably why I'm a little bit blurry.
Yeah, probably.
Especially when I lean way back like this.
The computer's like, oh God, where's the light?
Yeah.
Give me lights. Okay. Well, there was an update, so shit wasn't working again. And I was like, what's happening here?
Why are you updating before things? You should be updating after things.
I didn't do it. Well, I mean, I did do it, but I didn't do it today.
Sounds like you did it, though.
I technically updated after we recorded last week.
Yeah, but that was also before we recorded this week.
Well,
so
yeah.
Therefore,
it's also before we recorded next week. So
yeah. So therefore, why'd you update before we started recording?
That's you. That was my impression of you.
That's amazing. It sounded like there were two of me here.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a fantastic impersonation. You should be one of those people that goes around impersonating people.
An asshole?
Well, I mean...
Too late.
Too late.
Oh, shit.
Got him.
What the fuck? Oh, man.
I'm not going to lie. This game that I told you guys about earlier, I have it up on my iPad right now, and I'm clicking around on it. I'm having a lot more fun with it than I really thought I would.
Yeah, I started playing it earlier.
And what's funny, too, is I don't normally play games with audio on, and I happen to have the audio turned up on my iPad when I start playing it. And the audio is rather hilarious because all of the sound effects are just some dude just saying or making the sound effects himself. So like you click on somebody that falls out of a tree and you just hear boom boom, and it's just funny. It's just some dude making the sounds.
Okay.
Or like you have a bunch of bees in this area, and so it's just some guy going buzz 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 buzz.
Buzz, 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 buzz. Yeah, I started playing on my phone. I was going to put it on my iPad, and then I realized my iPad has died, so I need to charge it up.
How do you let your electronics die?
I apparently did not plug it in the other night when I thought I did, so I'm a terrible human being.
That's kind of cruel. Yeah,
I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm human garbage.
All right, I need to stop playing this, otherwise I'm going to just be distracted the whole entire time.
Yeah, Joe. The fuck, we're professionals.
Are we?
We're professionals.
Are we? Okay, so speaking of professionals, what would you like to talk about this week?
I have no fucking clue.
I got two things that we could talk about.
Okay.
One, let's just get it out of the way. Not even a week passes by where Microsoft purchases Blizzard, Activision, King, which is all actually one studio. I'm naming them off like they've made all these purchases. It's actually all under one brand. I don't know what that overarching brand is, whatever. But Sony has announced that they at least purchased a large portion of Bungie Studios. When I say a large portion, I mean like a controlling portion of it. Because it sounds like Bungie is still able to be their own thing. It's just now they fall under the Sony brand.
Yeah, much like a lot of those studios do.
Yeah. But hopefully, unlike a lot of brands in the past, well, I guess Sony didn't do it with like Naughty Dog or, and I'm sure there's other game studios out there, but they are relatively notorious for buying stuff up just for properties and kind of scuttling the rest of the company. Either way, what is your take on it, if you have really a take on it? What do you think?
So I think it's cool. This is my problem. All right, and it's not a problem, I should say. This is my only weird thing about it is, and I think it's because Bungie wasn't making enough money, I think, when they made Destiny 2 free to play for the most part. But I think the weird thing is they struggled to buy themselves. I say struggle. They basically worked on buying themselves out of Activision, right? So they got out of Activision's umbrella of stuff to essentially a couple years later get bought up essentially by Sony. And it just seems weird that they went from a publishing studio to a console studio.
Right.
It seems a bizarre thing. Now, there's some business involved in it, obviously. I just hope... And it's weird because to the layman, the outside people, it just seems like these studios are just like going by and just gobbling up these studios. I'm going to take this one too. These are obviously like years and months worth of negotiations going on.
Oh yeah, this didn't happen like overnight. Sony didn't go, oh shit, Microsoft purchased fucking Call of Duty. Like, we need something that big. Here's a bunch of money. Go buy Bungie. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's been in the works, and it's probably in industry stuff. People have known about this probably. So it's not like it probably wasn't a big thing that just happened, like, you know, over the weekend. You know, like you said, there's like they're panic buying whatever they can. But it is weird to me that Bungie worked so hard to get out of what they feel was a terrible decision to go with Activision.
Well, not only just Activision, like they were under Microsoft's umbrella for the longest time. They were like, hey, cool, you know, we fulfilled the contract with Halo. We kind of want to go do our own thing now that's outside of Microsoft. You can keep Halo. We just want to go do our own thing.
Yeah.
That's when Destiny came out, was under Bungie's own thing. And then you're right. They actually, when did they immediately go from Microsoft to
No, they were
Activision?
independent.
They were independent for a little while, and then they went under Activision for publishing, essentially, like you said.
Yep.
So yeah, to go from from being owned to not being owned to being publisher exclusive to being their own thing again to now being owned pretty much all the way by Microsoft or by Sony is a little weird. Yeah. But to me, you're saying that it's a money thing. Like, you don't think that they were making hand over fist money from Destiny?
So, in a way, yes. I mean, their expansions do well. People obviously, I mean, you're speaking to one of them right now that constantly play it, who buys all the expansions. I mean, I did take, like, I think almost like a full year or almost 2 years off, just because it got repetitive, and that's what a lot of people said. And then I kind of saw what they were some of the changes they were making, and some of the expansions, the way they were doing the expansions, and what really brought me back to it, truly honest to tell you, was the fact that they put the last couple expansions that it didn't have on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So like that definitely helped me kind of jump back in. Like, you know what, I'm gonna try this out. I'll check it out. You know, and I gave him the whatever it was, the $10 or whatever for the season pass, so I could earn more rewards, which is, when you look back at it, is kind of trash, but whatever, because it's all cosmetic bullshit, and like you don't get, other than you're essentially getting the you're paying to get access to the seasonal exotic or whatever they have,
right?
And then that's really it, and then the ornament for it, or an ornament for it. So it's kind of shitty, because the thing about it is, like, it would be good if you were a new light player, because you're then guaranteed exotics throughout that. That'll help you kind of get those. But when you're a seasoned player, like I am, and our buddy Matt is, those exotics are ones you already have, unless they're the new ones for that season, like they're whatever. So it's not like you're, it's like definitely not pay to win, because exotics are borderline trash most of the time when it comes to things. There are a few that are good and excellent, but they're never the ones that you get like world drops. They're always going to be an event one of some sort. But I don't think they made nearly as much money as if they were selling the game outright, and I don't think they're going to go back to just selling Destiny 2 as a full game. That'll always be free to play.
Yeah, I think the base game has to be free to play at this point. First off, you've done it for so long, you can't just go back on it. I just don't think it would be right to go back on it. But secondly, I think you would have to wait till Destiny 3 to resell a base game on it.
Yeah. And I could see, actually, tell you the truth, going forward, if Destiny 3 is a thing, I could see, because they've hinted very highly that after this next year, they're going to wrap up the narrative of Destiny, and we may not actually have a Destiny 3 for maybe ever, but maybe a while, because they have a newer property that they're working on. Now, that could just be smoke and mirrors, and that could just be a next gen Destiny we're looking at, like a true next gen Destiny, like one made for newer consoles, and it just has a fake name for right now. That tends to happen quite a bit throughout the world of video games. But yeah, I don't think they made nearly as much money because they super expanded, and I think the talks of being bought by Sony, or maybe anybody, but probably Sony, I would almost imagine it happened shortly after they got out of control of Activision, because Activision really was hindering them and what they could do. Originally, they gave them a lot of help because they gave them another studio to help them build expansions with, which was great because that's a whole nother group of people you're not essentially paying, like the studio's paying it, or the publisher's paying it, not the studio. So that helps. But then you have another set of controlling hands that are telling you how to do your game, and Activision, as we all know from all the stories, is very heavy-handed when it comes to what they want in their games, which is microtransactions and things like that. Now, Destiny has microtransactions, don't get me wrong, but they are not anything that you need to do. They're just cool shit. Like, when you're running around, you see a cool outfit, you're like, dude, I want to look at that. I'm going to do that because they have a thing called Ornaments. I don't know if do you remember?
I remember Ornaments. I had Ornaments for my guns.
Yeah, so Ornaments, essentially, for everybody who doesn't know, is a cosmetic skin. So what they did, this is a while ago, is introduced universal ornaments for legendary gear, which then you can make a set of gear look like this all the time. So if you had legendary armor gear on, that's the purple class, you could make it look like another set. But like a different set, you could make them look fancy by doing this. But you'd keep your stats, you'd keep your rolls, all that fun stuff, because essentially they're just skins anyways.
Yeah.
The bad thing was, it was like those were hard to get. Like randomly, you'd get those through like a Bright Engram or whatever. But you could buy them, which was shitty, right? But you could buy them. Later on, then they introduced a thing called Bright Dust, which allows you to use in-game currency to buy those things, which is cool, because I truly believe that anything in a game should be able to be earned as well as purchased.
Right.
Just because if you want to grind for it, you can grind for it, but if you want to just drop coin on it, you can drop coin on it, and whatever. But having stuff behind a paywall is kind of shit. So they did introduce this Bright Dust. So Bright Dust, again, in-game currency. There's ways of getting it throughout the game. Not as many as I would hope and wish they had. But again, that's their way of quelling that little bit of, hey, you should buy this. Wink, wink. We could use money. And if you think about an average, if they have 2 million players, right, active players, which I think is actually a super low number for them, and every one of those people spends $10 a year on something in the game,
yeah,
you're looking at $200 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're looking at a good chunk of change. You're not like, if you feel bad because you're not buying something in it, just look to your left when you're in the tower, and you're going to see 4 idiots who buy everything with real cash just because they want to look cool. It's not going to help them. It doesn't boost their stats. It just makes them look like a Power Ranger or whatever it happens to be. So whatever. Then later on, down the road, they introduced, not introduced, but they basically made it where every week cycles through different things you can get for Bright Dust that were available for actual real money previously. And they're only available for a week, and there's only a handful of them every week, and there's a cycle. So that's kind of cool. So that way like, oh, I keep my eye on this, I can look at it. And I can get that later down the road. I don't have to have it now and look like the shiny new whatever. I can just get it later down the road. So that's cool. So that way you can do it. Now, again, you have to grind dumb shit to get Bright Dust. Sometimes it's like hard to do, and it's just not really sometimes worth it unless it's something you really, really want, like, a fucking David S. Pumpkins dance type thing, which I have. And little things like that. So it is that. And they have a ton of ornaments that you can get for your legendary stuff and armor and blah, blah, blah. And every event that comes out has something like the Guardian, what do they call it? The Guardian games? No, what do they call it? I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, it's basically like their version of the Olympics comes out. And as you play it, you can get your gear to have glowing effects to it, right? Now, the shitty thing is it's not any gear. It's the gear for that set, for that event. Now, what they did this year, and I think they did it last year too, but I didn't play it because remember I just started playing not too long ago. I missed that event the last time around. This time I got it. You have to grind to get it, whichever, you play it, right? I do hate the fact that they sometimes force you to do content you don't want to play, like it's PvP or whatever.
Right.
That's shitty. Yeah. They should have again, high horse here or soapbox, whatever you want to call it. They should have just a higher grind for non-PvP players. If it's 300 kills in PvE or whatever, or PvP, it should be 3,000 kills in PvE. It's still easy to do. You're going to kill 3,000 things in a certain amount of time. It would just give you more reason to play those events, that whatever that is in there to do it. But you do it, and then they glow. And then there's purchasable ornaments for that as well. You can spend real money on or in-game currency on, blah, 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 unlock it, and blah, blah, blah. So there's things like that, and it's just things. But the point is, I don't think they were making as much money as if they were saying, hey, if you want to, and again, it's shitty to say it this way, but if you want to play this game, you have to buy the $60, $50, $40 base game. And then if you want all the content that's available now, you need to buy all the expansion sets within that year to catch up. That's a hefty fucking toll to jump into for a new player. When
right.
If you buy just the base game, you can have all the free, like all the stuff that you have in there, right? That's in there. So you get the new locations when they update and take them away. But there's certain content in those areas you just can't get because you don't have the expansion, right? There's a whole weapon pool you can't get to because it's in these specialty areas you can't get to. When Game Pass or when Destiny left Game Pass, I didn't have the last expansion. Because I had Forsaken. Oh no, I didn't have last two. I didn't have Shadowkeep, and I didn't have Beyond Light. So I had to get those. I bought them right as they came off of Game Pass, so I got that discount. And Bungie actually did discount them lower, so they were a little cheaper, so I didn't have to spend like $60 to catch up. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I just don't think they're making as much money as they were when they were. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. They're probably making the same amount of money. They just have a higher cost now because they're paying for everything themselves. They don't have Activision's pocketbook or bank account to rely on. They're solely the money they're making is paying for everything. So that is where it gets harder for them, and and I'm not going to say having Sony as your backer is a good or bad thing. It could be either way. It depends on how Sony wants to run it. And for the most part, they don't actually, from what I've heard, they're not as bad as they used to be when it comes to their games. Yes, they want exclusivity. They want their Gears of War. They want Spider-Man games, whatever. But that is less likely to happen. Just like it's less likely that Call of Duty will be gone off PlayStation because now Microsoft owns Activision and Blizzard.
Right. It's like, what do you expect? They're just going to lose a whole revenue stream because of it?
It's dumb to think that.
Do you expect, like, all these players are going to go, oh, my God, I lost my Call of Duty. I'm going to go buy an Xbox now just so I can go get my Call of Duty. No, they're not going to drop, $400 or $500 in a game system that you can not even find right now.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I don't think that Sony would sit here and be like, well, first off, they've already said that Bungie is basically its own thing. It just falls under the Sony name now. So whatever they want to do, they want to do. Now, I can imagine in future properties, they might be like, okay, well, make a game for us, make a game for everyone, make a game for us type thing.
Yeah.
Much like I would imagine that Activision and all those, the ones that Microsoft has purchased, make a game for us, make a game for everyone at the same time would do. But I couldn't see them just being like, okay, here's this big game that's been running multi-platform for so many years. It's a huge, well, I don't know what the revenue stream is for it, but it's got to be a pretty big revenue stream. It kept Bungie afloat for a while, that they're just going to be like, and no longer Xbox, well, I mean, I guess they've been slowly doing PC stuff recently, so they could do a PC version of it, but no more Xbox. No more Xbox. Just cut that revenue stream off. That'd be dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing, too, is, like, with Microsoft buying up all these studios in the last handful of years, which has been a lot. They've fucking owned so many now. It's ridiculous. The Microsoft Studios games has never come out and said, this property is ours. There's like, this is we're taking this away. Now, there might have been a talk of, hey, if you would like, you could make this solely for Xbox, and we will pay you for this. But it's not one of those things where, like, they were gonna snatch up Call of Duty and like you said, and make it just for them. In Call of Duty, for example, it has a very large PC base. There's a lot of people who play it on PC competitively. Play Warzone and shit like that. The base game, not really. Nobody ever plays the base game anymore. I don't even think anybody played the new base game. But enough. I mean, people play multiplayer, obviously, but it's weird because Warzone is in that same vein of where Destiny's at, right? Where the game is free. You can play Warzone completely free, with no ties to anything. But if you want to get a certain gun schematic to do it, then you buy the season pass, right? And yes, there is a little bit of play to win in that because those guns have better attachments to it, but you can then unlock those. But I believe you can unlock all of those by playing the game. You just don't get the fancy skin, so they don't look cool, or they don't, whatever. They don't change the fucking way the gun looks, but the gun plays the exactly same. There's not, the difference is you're paying to get it early versus, working for it.
Yeah.
So a little bit of pay to win, but also if you're not good at the game, it doesn't matter if you get the world's best gun in the game, you're still trash. So, it's not going to help you pwn motherfuckers from across the map if you don't have the skill to do so. Also, why Warzone has a fuck ton of cheaters, because the game is free and they can basically buy the cheat software to then cheat through the game, which is fucking asinine. You're paying money to cheat in a free game.
Yeah, right.
And then, and that's a whole different story. We could talk about that too. Is like the fact that like Activision, as well as the studio Ravensoft, has found a way through what they do now is when you install it, the game will then look at your hardware IDs and it will ban hardware.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking hardcore.
Yeah, right?
Especially nowadays because graphics cards are hard to find. They're also fucking expensive as shit for good ones.
Right.
And those games are pretty hefty games. They're not a Fortnite, right? Like or anything like that, where Fortnite can run on a fucking calculator with a color screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we even need a fucking 4-color screen, really. You know, that sort of thing. Call of Duty is a pretty hefty game. It's a 100 gigabyte fucking download and shit like that. To have your hardware banned means you can't play those games without hardware configuration anymore. Now, what that does mean is this, and I learned this, you could throw a new motherboard in there and a new processor, and you can get back in. Your graphics card doesn't fall in that category, right? So, cool. But also, motherboards are kind of hard to find as well, and they're not cheap. Motherboards are a couple $100 for decent ones, for good ones. And if you're doing that just to then go back and cheat in a game that gets you nowhere except for your hardware banned again,
Mm-hmm.
makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, what is wrong with your fucking life that you're going to pay money for a computer to run this game, then pay for cheat software just so you can shoot Tim the Tap Man in the back of the head and call him fat and then get banned?
I've never understood the reason for cheating like that, period. I was actually watching a YouTube video yesterday about this Guitar Hero guy. This dude's like super good at fucking just Guitar Hero in general. And Guitar Hero hasn't been really around for a while, but you had these fan-made versions, and I can't remember what it's called. It's I don't know. Anyway, it's this fan-made version of Guitar Hero, and then you have these fan-made songs. And some of these songs are just insane to get through. But you had this one guy who was like doing live streams and showing himself just like playing it, and it's just like hitting every note. And he was doing this for months. And he doesn't, as far as I know, make any money off of any of this. It's just him showing off. And it slowly came to the people slowly came to realize, somebody actually took a look at the videos and took a look at the finger placements and stuff and realized he's not actually playing the game. He's cheating. But it's like, the video itself was like, this dude's already really good at this stuff. He's known for being really good. He's done some of these things live. So why the fuck are you cheating?
Yeah.
For this stuff? The only answer I would have is like, for the fame and the recognition of being able to do this stuff. Like, you know, if you cheat, in your mind, is a win still a win? If it is, well then fuck, man, you're great at playing Call of Duty. You're great at playing Warzone, you know, because you can beat all these guys, you know. Or maybe it's also just at least in the Call of Duty perspective, it's just a way to have fun at other people's expense. You know, other people do tend to take these games very seriously, almost too seriously in some cases. And having somebody come along and just basically gank you is funny to the person doing it, because it elicits such a rage out of the person that is taking these games too seriously.
Yeah.
Those are my only perspectives on why people cheat. You know, people would want to cheat.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's weird, too, because, like, with Destiny, speaking of cheaters, when Destiny went to free-to-play, especially on PC, I don't know if it happens too much on consoles other than people using, like, modded controllers that help them shoot faster and blah, 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 right? Which, fuck those people anyways. But the people on PC, they noticed cheating, aimbot assistance, things like that, where people were fucking literally wall banging people, because they would just be, you would watch video of someone and their weapon would be training along the wall, and they would start shooting the wall, and then as soon as it moves past the wall, there's the character, and they get hit. And you realize you're not pre-shooting them. You're literally, your game is following that character through the geometry of the game, and it just starts shooting when it thinks it can start hitting them, and then boom, you're hitting them, right? It's just you're fucking, you can't, you're so excited to cheat that you start shooting before the character shows up, and you're just a dick. And one of the biggest
premature shoot-ulation. You're welcome.
And this threw up my mouth. And yeah, one of the biggest Destiny 2 streamers just this past summer, I believe, was caught cheating using an aimbot and was banned from the game. And he has lost thousands of dollars of revenue, hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue, because he lost sponsors because of it. Because nobody wants to be the person paying for a cheater, right, to play a game.
Right.
You know, and it's just like anything else. If you are caught cheating in any sport, for example, you're going to lose sponsorship. If you're seen as a terrible human being, you're going to lose sponsorship, right? And he did. He lost everything because he fucking cheated, and he tried to lie about it, and people put up videos of him from his own stream. Like, he's so stupid that you could see it when he's streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, people already said, like, people were saying, he was good at the game. He's one of the best at the game. But for some reason decided he needed to use it. So what they were thinking is what he would do is he would use those cheats when he was not on stream, and he forgot to turn them off. And so you literally saw him cheating on his stream, and everyone's like, screen grab, screen grab, screen grab, screen grab. And it destroyed him, which is good. I mean, fuck that guy. I hope he's dead in a ditch somewhere. Because you cheated at a game that doesn't fucking get you anywhere other than the fact you're making money from people watching you play a video game. Which
okay, well, how about like this? How about something like this? Because obviously he's making money off this. Let's compare it to something like baseball.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get players that are they play for money. That's what baseball is. They play for money. They're getting really good.
Oh, that's right.
But they're getting to a point where maybe they could be better, or they're getting older. So they start taking steroids, and the steroids are what are helping them hit balls further and whatnot. A, everybody's using it. That's one argument that could be made. And B, it helps you feel like you were young again, essentially. So what if this is like that? You know, you're really good. The pressure's on you to be good because this is how you make your money now. So one way to keep being good is to, have a little help every once in a while. It's something to think about.
Fuck them. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that it is good or anything. I'm not trying to justify or anything. Because I would say the exact same thing about steroids in baseball or any other sport. Unless you legalized it, in which case then everyone can have it, and then you're just basically watching like a bunch of really jacked guys trying to do weird things. But that'd be the whole point of the game at that point. But
which I'd be fine with,
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'd be fine with it at that point because it's expected of everybody, but it's not expected of everybody as the game stands. So yes, fuck those people. Not trying to justify it, just trying to. Maybe this is another explanation for it.
And it could be. And you know what? Yeah, that probably happens because it happens in sports all the time. But also, fuck you is all I was saying to those people. But I mean, and not to make light of any of it, but if you're gonna legalize steroids before they do in baseball, for example, before they do that, I would I would say as a team owner, like of a professional baseball team, I would then charge the steroid manufacturers money to make my ballparks bigger, so not everyone hits a fucking baseball out of the fucking park every single time. Because you need.
But I'm not even talking about like baseball doing this. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go create NFL Blitz,
which is fine.
This is just a different.
I would start charging those steroid manufacturers money to then pay for the medical bills when some fucking jacked idiot runs his fucking roided shoulder through another dude's midsection and breaks both of them and they can't play anymore. I'm going to charge them the medical bills and the reimbursement for not having the football players on anymore because you just took a guy who, probably didn't really need it, but the next guy over was going to get it, so he had to get it, right? Like, you can't be slower than the next guy, be it drugs related or not. And you are getting older, or maybe you're not as good as you were before because, you got too many hits to the head. So you're getting jacked to the gills with fucking horse tranquilizer and and fucking whatever. And then all of a sudden, you fucking run your helmet through a dude, and you do have fucking blood bowl. Blood bowl? When you hit him and their heads fucking came off? Whatever. I would be like, hey, if we're legalizing this and you are then supplying this to my players, I'm gonna charge you because I'm not gonna pay for it when this guy fucking snaps this dude's leg because he can't stop himself and he weighs 500 pounds but runs like he's 180.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. I mean, there needs to be like a checks and balances thing because that shit's gonna get fucking whacked, and we all know. If that ever got legalized, I mean, there'd probably be like a limitation, like you can't fucking, do illegal amounts or whatever. Like, it's like, oh, you can take this amount or whatever. People are going to get past it, whatever. Like, oh, I did an eye drops before and it's just fucking, making them fucking cracked out. I'm just saying, there's going to be some fucking charges put on against, or some bills sent to some drug manufacturers when that shit goes south, for sure. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
But I will probably watch sports more often because I do want to see a guy snapping at a guy's leg and then celebrate right over his fucking rotting corpse.
I really wouldn't want to see that. That sounds like the most disgusting thing ever. I cringe when even watching replays of stuff like that. Ugh. Just saying.
Fair enough.
Back
to our original point, though. I think it's...
Bungie.
Yeah, I think it's good overall. It could be good. It could be a good thing that these console manufacturers... Now, the difference... This is the thing, too. I was talking about this to one of my other friends. Actually, was it the other last? Whatever, it doesn't matter. The only problem I see with Sony buying game studios is the fact that it's more likely you're going to see a PlayStation exclusive from them versus, and again, this is not fanboy versus fanboy, Microsoft has two ecosystems they play in. There's the PC realm and there's the Xbox realm. Now, yes, there are Xbox exclusives, but almost all of those are also available on PC through Game Pass or whatever. I am searching my brain right now for one that's not. And I don't think any of them are only Xbox. I could be wrong about that, but because even like the Forza games, I believe, are on PC.
Yeah, I believe they're on PC.
So I could only see Sony kind of pulling a Sony and doing something stupid like that because they really only run in the console world. They just introduced God of War or about to introduce God of War on PC. It's either just came out or is about to come out. I don't remember. But there's not a whole lot of Sony games on anything but Sony consoles.
This is something they're only more recently doing. In fact, was Horizon Zero Dawn the first one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and that was only this past year or something like that. Yeah.
So that's my only thing is Sony is notorious for being a Sony only thing. Like they have a lot, don't get me wrong, that's what makes them sell consoles, right? Is they have a really good amount of like console exclusive games. They have the Spider-Man games, they have Ratchet and Clank, they have God of War, the infamous games, for example, back in the day, and things like that. And then they have they paid a lot of money to have content exclusive. Destiny was one of them. There was multiplayer maps and a whole strike and an exotic you can only get if you played on PlayStation.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Then later on, they were released and they were like, it was a while afterwards, and it seems like now it's like that fucking strike is like the second most played strike ever in that fucking game. But I could see that being a thing they do. Now, they won't make Destiny only PlayStation. They would fucking get destroyed by that. They would never be able to afford pulling it from content because you can't. Because if they did, all the people who bought stuff on PC and Xbox can no longer play that game. You're going to get fucking sued out of your mind. So There's no way they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could see, and this could happen on both sides. This could happen to Call of Duty on Xbox/Windows, and this could happen, or PC, and this could happen on PlayStation. I could see them paying, one of those two companies paying for exclusive parts of the game, like PvP maps that are exclusive to Call of Duty on Xbox, or as they've done before on PlayStation. Same thing with Destiny. I could see Sony doing that. I could see Xbox doing it. I would say it's less likely Xbox would do it. And to your point earlier, I could see them saying, "Hey, how about we make Call of Duty a every other year game? Then the other year you give us an exclusive game, and it wouldn't be Call of Duty; it would be something else.
No, something else, yeah.
And then the next year you could run it, right? I mean, the bad thing with that is that means that same studio is doing what they don't want them to do, is make a game every year. So I don't think that could be. I would almost venture to say it would be a 2 to 3 year cycle before you got a new game from that one, like Gears of War does, for example. And like Forza, because if you don't know, Forza and Forza Horizon, two different companies who make those games. And that's why there is not a new one every year. There's a new one every other year. Because there are two different studios, and they don't want to saturate the fucking world with Forza games every fucking year, having the same, Forza 5, 7, 11, 12. You have Forza Horizon, and then next year you're going to have a Forza game or whatever.
Gotcha.
But I could see them slowing the roll of a Call of Duty game to every 2 to 3 years, and then a new bit of Warzone to fill in that gap. Because Warzone's a free game, you don't have to put as much into it as creating a narrative and a game. And those games would then flourish. They would get bigger. They would be that 15, 20 hour single player campaign type thing, like we all miss from Call of Duty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Destiny, right? Destiny, it's one of those games that we were talking about last week or whenever it was. They have become a game as a service, right? Like you're making your money from the season pass, from expansions. The base game is free. I don't see Call of Duty doing a base game for free. That's why you have a Warzone. Do I see a Battle Royale type thing for Destiny? No. But I would almost imagine a expanded PvP experience in Destiny because of this. Because now they can focus on making that. And there was a thing, I can't remember when it came out, that Destiny wants to, or Bungie, Destiny wants to do its own thing. Bungie, one of the things they wanted to get away from Activision for is they wanted to recreate Destiny to be this, like, it won't be Destiny 2, right? It would be, I mentioned this earlier, it won't be Destiny 3, it would be Destiny, like it would be whatever you want to call it, and then they would expand in that world to a different narrative going forward, or a different type of thing. It wouldn't just be this is the world, these are the worlds. They would have this large expansion of worlds you could go into. That way you could have multiple stories going on, you could have multiple things, and the game itself could be updated more regularly for newer content within the game without having to say, hey, and I think they're doing it with Witch Queen. They're doing a lot of it, like the last few seasons, where they're doing that more, where every time they come out now, they've done a better job at it. And in Witch Queen, the new expansion comes out February 22nd, I think. Anyhow, has a huge amount of changes in it, and I think this is their first. This is the very first time that we're going to see kind of what Destiny and Bungie has in mind for Destiny going forward. And what I mean by not having a Destiny 3, they would just keep going with the Destiny 2, and I probably change the name eventually, like I said. but you would never see a Destiny 3. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
You're saying that if I'm getting what you're saying, it's no longer even Destiny 2, it's just Destiny, but it's still just it continues as it is.
Like Fortnite, right? Fortnite.
Yeah. It just continues from season to season. There's never heard of plans of a Fortnite 2. It's just, okay, here's the new season of Fortnite. This is the new things that are happening with it. Here was the transition from last season to this season. And it's kind of, I guess, like the promise of episodic gaming, but not still like quite episodic gaming.
Yeah, like you have small narratives within this big world, right? So this ever-expanding Star Wars like world, right? Where like you have a Mandalorian, you have a Book of Boba Fett, but then you have the Skywalker saga, and there's this ever-expanding world. Like there's not just this one narrative we're going on, and they've done that with the seasons, but they're always tying back to each other. I think with the way they're doing it is, and when I say this, and I said this earlier when we were talking about it, with Witch Queen and the way they're planning it is they have plans to go through this whole year, and that is the narrative of Destiny 2. I do not think we'll see a Destiny 3, but we will see Destiny go forward. And it will be a thing where, like, this is the open world, and unfortunately I don't know if they'd ever do what I want them to do, is basically have this base set of playable worlds you could go to, where it's just it's that part of it is like, if you pay for this expansion, you can go to Mercury. If you don't want to pay for that expansion, you can still play in this set of this sandbox, right? This sandbox that changes. We'll change the sandbox rules in this main one, but if you want to go forward and play this new narrative for your Guardian to do over here, and there will be exclusive content over in this world on Mercury. I'm just using Mercury as an example.
Exclusive content, exclusive weapons and armor and stuff.
But they will not be game-breaking changes. They're just going to be variants of weapons and new things. So if you want to play that, you can pay for it. But our base game of Destiny, this is the sandbox. This is where you can go. And the narrative that you do over there does not change.
It's a side thing.
It's a side thing. It's always, and and that way they can do new stories that don't have to do with the major thing. Because one of the things that drove me insane, and I think we talked about this before, about the narrative is you make these things that change the way the way the game looks and plays, or not plays, but looks with storytelling, and then you realize we can't keep this going because we need to expand what we're doing with it. So the tower can't always just be destroyed. It makes no sense, right? Like,
right.
This, and our story is saying, oh, we're trying to rebuild it, but then the look and feel of everything is still there. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and it just makes no sense to do that way. So if you have this main sandbox that you're playing in, and you have these other adventures you can go on, it would never change everything else that's in the base game.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
I could see that being the future of a lot of games, and I think Halo Infinite is actually going to be one of those things where the future DLC will be, hey, let's jump in this ship and go to this Halo, and it's a different style Halo. This one is, there are no guns. It's only fucking swords, knives, axes, throwing stars, and boot knives. That's all this Halo has on it. There is no shotguns, right? But then you have this Halo over here where all it is guns that shoot marshmallows, right? So let's go do adventures over here. Why? I don't know. That's just popped in my brain, and that seems like a dumb idea. But you know what I mean? It's like they would have this.
It kind of does seem like a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's a stupid idea, and my brain just thought of it, so I know it's not a great idea. But it was a spur of the moment thing, and I panicked. So you have that, right? You could see them doing that, where like the base Halo game would be Halo. It's on that the Halo Infinite, right? And I think that's where the name comes from, is the Infinite. You'd have these things where you would create these other worlds or whatever, and you could just do adventures over there. And I think that's the same idea. Like, you have this base world, the sandbox you can play in, and then you have hey, by the way, we discovered this new race of aliens that don't like either of us over here on this planet that has a halo around it or near it or whatever it is. Let's go do an adventure over there with a different or a set of Spartans, like we'll say a fire team of Spartans over here. God forbid, don't make it 3 people. I swear to God, the number 3 in a fire team needs to be punched in the face.
It's not Bungie doing it, so hopefully they wouldn't. Because, like, just going off on the tangent, I know where you're going. Classically, once we got into the Genesis and stuff, 4-player co-op, 4-player. It's always been 4, and then suddenly you go down to 3. What the fuck, Bungie? I have more than 3 friends, luckily.
Bro, you knew how many years I played 4-player co-op games?
Yeah.
I can give you so many of them.
Yeah.
So many of them. Destiny comes out and you have 3 and sometimes 6. How about you go fuck yourself first off? 3.
Right?
Yeah. So
why,
Halo.
Why and then sometimes 6 too? Like, because I have to go now find a second fire team to go play with. Like,
thank you. Right? And then, like, you can't go do other content with these 6 people. You're like, oh, I guess we have to split up.
I
if
can
we're not
only
gonna...
do it with this, yeah.
Yeah, and then, oh, God forbid, you play multiplayer.
Yeah, right?
And then I need to find 3 more people or 2 more people, whatever it happens to be. But if we want to go, I need to talk to these people into, like, leaving our other friends and go and play this content. Because strikes can't be more than is only 3 people. Yeah. Anyhow, you could then go back to what I was saying. You could then have this ever-expanding world, and I don't think Microsoft would actually ever charge for these. They would just be a if you have Game Pass, you get it for free type thing. Let's go play this new story about these new aliens with a fire team of 4 Spartans, and you get to create your own Spartan when you make your own armor, customize it. You can unlock new things, which really drives me insane. The fact you're unlocking stuff for PvP in a PvE game, and you can't change it in the game, like in the regular game.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck am I doing that then?
No idea.
Why don't you just leave that unlockable shit over in PvE or PvP and have unlockable stuff to make a gun when I pick it up magically look different in PvE? No? Fuck me? Okay, cool. Then you take your fire team and you go do this narrative over here. Then a few months to a year later, you have another narrative at a different world. But your base Halo is the one that you have. I still need to beat this game, so I don't know what happens in it, in this world. And it just all spurs off of, like, this is humanity's new Halo or whatever it happens to be. I don't know. I haven't beat it. I have no clue.
Where the fuck are you in it?
Tell you the truth, because of the job change and hours and things, I have yet to play it again since last time we talked. So I made it out of the other side of the construction thingy through the stuff, and I took down the guns, and I haven't played it since.
So you're like halfway through the game.
We'll say yes. I have no fucking clue. If that's halfway through, then yeah, Joe, I'm halfway through.
That's about halfway through the game, I would say, because I've beat the game. Had it beaten for a while now. Yeah, I would say that's probably about halfway through the game.
Okay, cool. It's cool. Halfway through the game. It's fun, don't get me wrong. I do wish I could play with somebody else because it is way more fun.
So we're not going to complain about Halo anymore, although we're going to actually complain about Halo in a second here. I still hate that they didn't launch that game with multiplayer built into it, and that it's still coming sometime soon. Maybe you'll still be playing the campaign, and I can help you out in with co-op in it. I don't know. Have you watched the trailer, though?
Fuck yeah, I've watched the trailer like 9 times.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it was super cool. Now, my only complaint, it's not Taj's complaint, it makes no fucking sense. My only complaint is, what is the story? Like, what are we rewriting it? Like, I haven't looked into it, but as far as I can tell, seems to be a little bit of a narrative change.
Yes, and I wish I would have saved that article. I don't have that article pulled up. Yeah, there is. What were they calling this one? They were calling this the Silver Timeline or something like that. They, as far as I am aware, never really, like you said, they don't really announce exactly what they are doing in it, but that it's Halo game adjacent. It's not Halo. It's Halo game adjacent story wise.
So, and this is the thing, and I know super hardcore Halo nerds, Tosh, will probably be upset about this. I think that's cool as long as they make it a good story. Now, I say that, and I mean, I'll explain why I mean by that is, if we go back to Halo Combat Evolved, the very first Halo game, right? The narrative in the world building they had in it was very shallow. It was a cool premise, like they made this cool premise that had this, and then from there on in, they literally just Harry Pottered the world that we have for Halo, right? It started with Bungie, obviously, back in the day, in 1990, no, 2000. When did Halo 1 come out? Or Halo come out 2001?
I don't remember at all.
2000? Don't remember. It was 2001. 2001? I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Might have been 2002. Someone will probably tell me. Anyhow, so you had it, and they had all these cool things in it. I loved the first Halo. I've actually liked every single Halo game, except for the Halo Wars. I don't like RTSs, so that didn't really, float my boat, as they say. But I like them. The story has become very, very convoluted and very murky.
Yes.
And that happens because of two things. One is you started with such a shallow pool to play in that when you try to expand said pool, you run out of water. So you have to create new water, right? Cool. I understand it. Then you have a whole different studio come in and make the last set of games, which means you shit that don't make no sense because some of those games were prequels and all that stuff just goes away. Like, we had one Spartan, then you told us there were other Spartans, but somehow all those other Spartans died, but yet are still here, and there's new Spartans.
Yeah, the only thing I can make, as far as that goes, and the only reason why I can make a little bit of headway on that is because of accidentally playing Halo 5 or Halo Infinite's multiplayer training, is that they're literally, at this point in the Halo series, A, the Spartan program is well known at this point. B, you're not just kidnapping kids anymore. You can't. You're in the middle of a fucking war. So at this point in time, they're taking what's left of humanity, people that are volunteering, and making them Spartans at this point in time. That's what I gleaned from playing the tutorial multiplayer of Halo Infinite.
Because that's where the characters from Halo ODST came in, because they were orbital drop
shock troopers.
I was right there. I was like, what is that other word? Shock troopers. I wanted to say stormtroopers, and I was like, that you can't use that. That's Nazi terms.
Can't use that. Yeah.
So you can't use that. It's Star Wars. It's Nazi stuff. Whatever, right? Shock troopers, orbital drop shock troopers, right? Which one is? I loved ODST, and this.
I really enjoyed.
I won't go on
ODST as well.
The only thing, and the only drawback to it was, you got so used to being a fucking god and being John Spartan or John 117.
Yeah.
And being that Spartan, that being an ODST, even though you're cool and you get to shoot all weapons, you couldn't rip a fucking turret off and use it. You couldn't, super punch a fucking alien in the face across a map. Whatever, right? Then Halo 5? Was it 5? They did it? And they made those characters, the ones that survived, like Locke and those, they made them Spartans.
Yes.
So I know that part, right? What I don't, and maybe it's because it's been however long since I played Halo 5, it just seems like somehow John is the only good Spartan. Because everyone else just gets murdered and you go along and you loot their corpses for new armor upgrades.
At least in Halo Infinite, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it just sucks because, like, I just wish Halo Infinite you weren't John. And I know that's, like, sacrilegious savings. Halo fans are like, oh, why would you not? Because I want...
you did get that in Halo 5.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Play as Spartan Locke.
Yeah, you get to play as Locke, right? And that's cool. And that's, like... And that was one of the cool things about Reach is, other than the fucking... You watch all your friends die around you. But you got to play as a different Spartan. And you kind of... I just wish they would have given us... Hey, do an intro mission with John. He unlocks Spartans, and we get to go play the campaign as Spartans, and you get to customize your outfit and make your guns all cool looking, and you get to run around with 3 other of your, that's a total of 4, of your other friends as Spartans and a fire team to wreck fucking shop on a Halo.
So you want, and I don't think it's a bad idea. You can even just tag that as a separate part of the game. Like here's the main game, and yeah, you play as John. You play as Master Chief. That's the main game. But now we go off, and you can create your own Spartan and go do other missions, Destiny style or something like that, with your friends as your own Spartan, and have fun in that. Okay, I can see that. That'd be fun.
And then you could link that to your multiplayer, where you get to customize your Spartan in their armor and the way they look. You could have a robot arm or a robot leg or a robot torso / penis area, and have a Ghost Rider flamey head or bat wings unicorn fucking outfit. I don't care. You have all these. You could look like a fucking half robot samurai. That's fucking rad, right? Unlocking that game in the game is cool. Playing PvP, if you're a fucktard that does that, that's cool. Do it. You can unlock that stuff, right? But in this day and age, not being able to customize your hero in a game is fucking asinine. And when they made it where, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Halo. The fact that you can't change what fucking, like, John looks like is mind-boggling in this game to me. Like, when I get an armor upgrade, it should make him look different. And it doesn't. And I don't know why. I don't know why I can't, when I put the fucking jump pack on, his back doesn't look different in the cutscenes, right? Or if I find a cool skin that makes the fucking faceplate purple, why don't I get to see that? Why can't I have that?
That was a weird aspect of the main game, where you could literally collect things only for multiplayer.
Exactly. Why?
It's cool because on the one aspect, you have that thing where you said, well, hey, give me a different way of collecting these things rather than having to play multiplayer a bunch. But at the same time, if I can't use it in the main game and only use it in multiplayer, why'd you even put it in the main game? Because I'm never going to play multiplayer. I suck at multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's from.
And I don't want to devote my time to getting better at multiplayer because it's not interesting to me, because I'm not competitive, right? And I don't thrive on that. I don't get fucking game nerd fucking boners from poning noobs in the PvP matches. I don't give 2 fucks about anybody else except for my friends and me. Mostly me, also my friends. So why not give me a fucking unlock that I can use in the game? Yes, I do know when you go after the high-value targets and you unlock the special gun they have there, right? But then that gun runs out of ammo. And I can't, like, you have to go back to one of the fucking bases to then get that weapon back out.
Right.
I can't call in a fucking drop pod, to give me. I have a dude that flies a fucking ship.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be like, hey, bro, can't remember his name right now, Diego or something. Can you please drop me some fuck? I'm out of combat. There's no bad guys near me. Can you swoop in, you cowardless fuck, and drop me some weapons in a vehicle?
Roll down the window, throw a magazine out, and just fly away.
Yeah, dude, come in, drop a warthog full of fucking weapons and dudes that are way too fucking slow to be useful, by the way, and are way too fucking dumb to just get in a vehicle and follow me. Just drop them down here with me with guns. Let me have my cool fucking yellow shotgun pistol thing and the whatever color this comes in. And let me go murder aliens to free this Halo. But no, I have to fast travel back to a fucking base, get what I want, and then make my way back to wherever it's at, where I'm going, to then continue on with this fucking game. And then to alleviate that, they're like, oh, by the way, this wrecked ship over here, this Pelican has crashed over here. There's a couple weapons over there. No, motherfucker. I want these two main guns and this pistol at all fucking times. And I want, that's how yes, you need an energy weapon. You know what works against shields? Brute fucking force in my fist. He has a shield. Guess what I do? I zipline him in his fucking dumb bug face. I then kick him in his chest. His shield drops. And then I unload a gun directly into his soon-to-be corpse. That's how I fucking defeat energy shields. Why? Because I'm John fucking Spartan or whatever his last name is. And that's what I fucking do. I'm a goddamn human god.
He's a murder machine.
I don't have fall damage. Do you know what that should mean? I should jump off the highest point and aim for the squishiest thing I can and fucking annihilate it.
Just give him the people's elbow from all the way up somewhere. And just
Bro, I will
blam.
I will raise an eyebrow you can't see inside of a mask because for some reason his mask is completely unseeable from the outside. And I will drop an asteroid of an elbow from the top of the highest point and drive it through the meat sack that isn't a bad guy, and then have the shards of his bones and many teeth shoot out and kill everything around him. Then I'll stand up with no damage taken, with his viscera just dripping off of me, and then I will shoot a gun that would rip the arm off of any other soldier repeatedly, faster than you can imagine, into the rest of the things that survived around me. And then you know what I'm going to do after that? Ask me, Joe. What am I going to do after that?
What are you going to do after that?
I'm going to climb back up to the next highest part and do it fucking again until this whole Halo is nothing but craters and leftover bug guts. And then I'm going to let it rebuild itself or whatever this fucking game tells it's going to do. And then I'm going to find another Halo full of these fucking idiot monsters, and I'm going to do it to them too.
So I would also like to point out something that I realized as you were ranting halfway through there.
Sorry.
In armor, canonically, Master Chief weighs 1,000 pounds.
So what's terminal velocity for 1,000 pounds?
It would just, depend on what the gravity of Halo and his surface area as he flies down. But anyway, if you're jumping from the top of a tall building, you're probably not hitting terminal velocity off a tall building. But you're going pretty fast for 1,000 pounds. And that's going to squish something or seriously damage something just by jumping off a tower.
But you know what doesn't happen? Anything other than some dust.
Right.
Which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I love that fact where I can just jump off. I can just yeet myself off of anything. Because I've done that several times. I'm running at a base. I'm like, there's a cliff here. Guess what Cody's going to do? He's going to yeet off. And when I'm in the air, I'm chucking grenades. I'm shooting at stuff I'm not hitting. I am scaring the living shit out of anything that's around. And they're like, what the fuck is happening? And they're like, oh, it's Master Chief. In their weird language that somehow is English. And then I murder everything around me. And then 15 minutes later, the soldiers finally make their way down the closest path because they're not fucking Spartans and they can't do what I just did. And they refuse to get in vehicles by themselves and follow me where I'm going. Can we get a waypoint system? 343 Studios, please, if you're listening. I know you aren't. Just let me say, hey, I have these dudes with me, right? Can I open my map and say, hey, dudes and ladies and whoever, I'm not going to assume your gender, let's go here. And then they'll all just run that direction or get in a vehicle and drive that direction, and then I'll go with them, and we'll murder everything as a big, happy family, and whoever's left, I'll take them further down the rabbit hole, along with anybody else I gather on my way there, so I don't have to fucking cradle these dudes as I'm running full speed faster than most vehicles to the next point of where I'm going to kill aliens. Is that too much to ask?
It would be interesting to have, like, because Ghost Recon used to do that, and so did Rainbow Six, where you had the AI-controlled characters. You could basically just say, go there, back to me, type of stuff.
And I don't want full control.
It's not even really full control. It's just literally you point to a direction and say, go there.
That's what I'm saying.
Defend this area. Everyone on me. And then they just follow you until they're dead.
Yeah, but no. They have to be slow, squishy, fucking useless bullet. I mean, they're humans. I get it. They're not fucking, science gods.
Spartans.
But for fuck Christ, one of them, I swear to cross, died when he looked at a bad guy. He's like, oh, my spleen, and fell over dead. And I was like, bro, they hadn't even seen us yet. Like, he's not even looking our way.
I'm not going to lie. There were a couple of areas where I went to go save Spartans. And by the time the smoke clears, I realized, no, they're all dead. But I still get the, bloop, you saved them. And I'm like, yeah, totally saved them.
Yeah, walk away. You did save them, Joe. You saved them from dying over there.
Yeah, right.
They died here, but they did not suffer over there. They suffered over here, or
over here,
whatever. Can you imagine just if there was a mod that would put a headstone everywhere that one of those fucking soldiers died, and then you'd always see it when you walked back through that area?
That'd be depressing and kind of funny because I know some of them probably died in stupid places.
Oh, I guarantee. I yeeted a dude, a whole warthog full of dudes off a cliff because I didn't realize it was a cliff until I was airborne. I was like, you know what? This is not going to be good for them.
You know what that doesn't look like? A cliff.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't.
Oh shit, that's a cliff.
I can. Whenever you look at any rise of a hill, there should be horizon on the other side, right? That's what I always assume. So when I just go off it, I'm like, oh, that ground's a lot lower. That's not a building. That's a tower. Shit. Hey, guys, have fun splatting. I'm going to jump out. And I start murdering everything. And if they survive, they survive. If they don't, I'm going to find some new ones. Because that Halo is fucking chock full of them. Even though humanity has died and we lost the war, there are soldiers everywhere.
We didn't really lose the war, but, anyway. So we went off on that rant.
I'm sorry.
Back to the trailer. It's going to be an interesting thing. I know going into a lot of other things in the past, I've said that I'm willing to give things a chance. Even look at Cowboy Bebop. I saw a lot of Cowboy Bebop, trailers obviously before the show released, and I knew it would be somewhat different. I wanted to give it a chance. It still looked really cool to me. It didn't end up being as cool as I would hoped it would have been, but I saw potential, at least in going forward. I don't know what it is in watching this, but there are aspects of it that give me moments to pause and wonder if this is something I'm going to enjoy. I think partially it's, as Taj had pointed out, the guy that they got to do the voice of Master Chief, he sounds to me like generic action hero guy. There are scenes where he's in helmet and you're like, okay, he doesn't sound so bad. But then there's more clear dialogue scenes that he has later in the trailer and you're like, okay, that's generic John McClane, action hero guy. That's not the deep fucking baritone gravelly voice Master Chief that we've been listening to this whole entire time. And granted, you're not going to get the voice actor to literally be him, although I think you could have gotten him to do the voice. I mean, it's just a dude in a helmet. You know, you could have just had a dude in a helmet and then had the voice actor dub over all the lines, because you're not really dubbing anything. You're just saying a line. But where it takes place, because you're right, the story is like, we don't know what's going on in the story. Obviously, the Covenant are there. Obviously, this is a fight with the Covenant. So this is probably pretty early in the Halo series, but it's after because the Spartans were originally created to quell the human uprising on some of the outposts of humanity. Once the Covenant showed up, that's when the Spartans really, were retasked with taking out the Covenant. So this almost seems like it's within that transition period, something I don't think we really got in any of the games with Master Chief. Obviously, Reach was there, but Reach was not Master Chief.
Yeah, Reach was you led up to the creation of John 1:17 in Reach. You were literally letting those people get off of Reach, and then that was what led to John being created.
Right. There's another aspect that I've talked about this with Matt, where I think it would have been some of the places that Halo has fallen short of in some of the past games, I think, is in being more personal with Master Chief, and maybe exploring the fact that he's always just been like, you have characters that ask him, why do you do this? Why do you keep fighting? Diego, I believe, asks multiple times, why do you keep going forward in this? And his response is always, we got to finish the fight. This isn't done until it's basically done. You just got to keep moving forward. That's all he knows. But it's something that it's never really fully explored in the games. Is that just all he knows? He's just a brainwashed super soldier. And our consensus when we talked, it was that it might be interesting to see a Halo game where it explores that intricacy a little bit more. But here it seems like they're going to possibly explore it, because they have that whole section of the dialogue, what do you do when you can't control your most controllable soldier anymore? But having it done so early, it almost seems, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel earned or anything. So I don't know. And plus, some of the stuff looks very low budget to me as well.
There, you could. Someone pointed out there's a Chevy Tahoe you can see in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the fact that they're using guns that look like guns we have in our current military, which, I mean, again, depending on when this takes place, would almost make sense. Because, if you're coming from a planet that's solely been running on current human technology, then you're going to run into that. I mean, it's going to happen. The part that I think it's first off, it's early on in it, where you see the dude, like there's it's like a dirt floor, right? And there's like a fortress wall or something. And I'm like, why? Yeah. And I'm asking these questions completely out of context, because I don't know what this is focusing on.
This area is, yeah.
But it's like, is this a outpost somewhere? Is this Earth? Is this, again, we're gonna get these answers hopefully. But I would have just liked to see less out of context stuff I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense, because even the article that I have pulled up, the reason why I have this article pulled up is because there's a scene in the trailer where you see UNSC area. That's all I'll say. It could be a bridge. It could be a ship. It could be something. And then there's just these worms all over one of the characters, and this human woman just walking through the area. And it's like, okay, for me, I didn't even put two and two together until this article was like, okay, those are the worms that make up the hunters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Who the fuck is this woman? Because she's human, and she's like, no, surrender to the Covenant. And as far as I am aware, and obviously I could be wrong, I've played all the Halo games, but I don't remember every little detail about it. There's never been a character that's been like, no, we should surrender to them.
Yeah, I don't know who that chick was. I just know she's in charge of something that's not our half.
Yeah, so who is she, and what is her involvement in this? How far off of the story are they going to go with this show? Lek Golo worms. That's what they're called. Lek Golo.
I don't think you're allowed to say that, Joe. You're
Too late. I already said it twice.
So I don't know what her name is. I guess I could look at Wikipedia or IMDb to see if casting has her picture.
Well, even this article just says the trailer. This article from Screen Rant. The trailer shows a humanoid female character apparently leading Legolo worms as they attack UNSC officers. So, I mean, they don't even list a name for her here.
Well, that chick is not white, and that girl looked white as shit.
Yeah, she looks pretty white.
So there's other Spartans listed here, mainly because I know that, because they have numbers on their names.
There are other Spartans in the show, definitely.
Yeah, she's an admiral. So there's an actress named, I'm going to butcher this name, probably, Yirin Ha, or He, I'm not too sure how to say it, who has a character name of Kwan Ah, and she's Asian, as far as I can tell from this photo and the name she has. But she's the only person, other than a lady named Charlie Murphy, named Makee, M-A-K-E-E, Makee? I don't know what that is either.
Makee? Are we going to go full on Star Trek?
I don't know. That's the only other non-Spartan or Admiral Doctor person that's listed here. And I don't know that. I don't know, because the chick we're talking about, for people who haven't, or humanoid chick-looking person, I don't want to assume anything, especially race, and or human or not. We're talking about from the Halo trailer is you're talking about the blonde chick, right? Like the bob hair blonde chick that has like the weird silverish gray outfit on.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if she's like, like there's the Forerunners, and then like there's what is the other fucking group called? Whatever.
Prometheans.
Yeah, whatever. None of them look human, right? Like this chick looks human, but I don't know who. Because this actress, she's on IMDb. She's listed. Now, granted, everybody on this list is given 9 episodes, because I think it's how many they have going, which is a weird number to me. But whatever. She's listed as 9 episodes, and then she's high on the list of people. But as we know from IMDb, that's never never accurate, because there's like Pablo. Shabrir, I think is how you say his name, plays Master Chief. He's 9 episodes. Natasha McElhone, who's Dr. Catherine Halsey, also has 9 episodes. But if you scroll down to Professor Colonel Stacker, they have 2 episodes. There's some people who don't have 9 episodes, but there's a ton of people who do have 9 episodes. So I don't know who this person is. Then there's Fiona O'Shanahy, who plays a character named Lyra, who has 3 episodes. I don't know who it is. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give it a chance.
Okay, so it is her, Makee.
Oh, that
is her. Okay, because you look her name up in Halo. Apparently, she was introduced in the Showtime series,
The Showtime.
which that's what it says here. Unveiled by. Okay, so
This is a Showtime show.
So this is according to a Halopedia.org. The character Makee. Makee was a young woman who, having been orphaned as a child, was raised by members of the Covenant. As such, she came to share her caretaker's contempt for humanity. Makee's existence was first unveiled by Showtime on November 8th, 2019. In the television series the network is airing, she will be played by Irish actress Charlie Murphy. According to Frank O'Connor, franchise development director at 343 Studios, audiences will be shown why Makee was spared from destruction by the Covenant within minutes of being introduced to her. He also stated that the rationality behind this decision involves something anyone familiar with the Halo games should know about. And that's all it is. That's all it says. So that is her.
Okay.
But that is weird because it says unveiled by Showtime. Wasn't there was another show before this. That was the Lock one, wasn't it?
I mean, technically, yes.
But where did that air? Was that on the Xbox
Yeah, it was
network?
on the Halo Waypoint.
So then what was... Because what's weird about this, it says back in 2019. So this was years ago.
Well, 2019 is when they announced the Showtime show, which we are now going to watch because it's on Paramount Plus, but it's a Showtime production. That is this show. And I don't know if they showed anything back then, but that's when they announced them making this show, was in 2019.
Such a weird thing to announce so many years ago. I don't know. Like I said, it's just a weird thing to announce so many years ago, a character like this, when you're still just like coming up with the premise of it.
I don't know. Reddit has some stuff too where these fucking nerds are just screaming left and right about it. Also, there's some sexism stuff in here, so I'm not too sure I should use this as great fucking knowledge.
It is Reddit, so I wouldn't use it as good knowledge. But anyway, this will definitely be a show that I'm going to watch. I love Halo, and I really want to watch it. I really hope that I enjoy it. I just... Watching this first trailer, not knowing what it's aimed for, because again, it's not a retelling of the Halo series as we know it, like most of these things are not. It's considered the silver timeline, so it's Halo adjacent. Yeah, I don't know. I hope I like it. I hope it like it. It looks cool. It has some definitely has some fan
service,
whatever you call it, service. That's what I was looking for. Fan service, like when you see Master Chief pick up the fucking Gatling gun and just start going ham with it, or when he's going up against the. I do like this detail with this trailer. I will say, when Chief is going up against the two Covenant, which ones were they? They were just the.
Those were you're talking about the Predator face dudes.
Yeah, I'm spacing out on.
Yeah, whatever I'm talking about. Yeah, with the plasma sword.
You can see where one of them swipes and just barely misses and hits his shield, his overshield on the back.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool detail to show, because you don't have to do that. You could just be like, oh, he missed. You just totally whiffed on that because Master Chief is so agile. But no, you can see where it skims across his shield, which was a really cool effect, I thought. But as far as where you're at, like, I guess that's part of my concern, is that where does this take place? Why are we here? It'll be interesting to say the least, and I hope I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this though. I was worried about how the Covenant, the aliens, were gonna look. I think they look pretty cool. And the other part I was worried about is how Master Chief is gonna move, because he does weigh 1,000 pounds. Obviously, the armor is stupidly heavy. He's a giant human being, and the guy the dude they got to play him is a giant human being as well. I was just worried, can they make someone move the way Master Chief moves in the cool cinematics we always get to see, which you can never do in the game. Like Halo Infinite actually has some pretty cool things you can do when you're moving as Master Chief, but they're never as fucking cool as Master Chief in the cinematics. So I always, when I think of the TV show / movies or whatever you want to call them, that's the one thing Master Chief has never been able to do, is keep up with what we see Master Chief do in the games. And like even when the web series you were talking about earlier with the Fall of Reach, when you saw him, he didn't move. He was more that I'm a big dude and I stalk where I want to go and just shoot whatever I want. He wasn't sliding around things and punching real quick and sticking and moving and things like that. And you got to see him in this do that. I thought that was pretty cool. To your point, is he's going against those two dudes, and he has the plasma sword and a gun in the other hand, and he literally uppercuts one dude in the face, and I was like, yeah, bro, that's exactly what I want to do. Like, that's what I would do to him. I would probably also be wetting the inside of my armor, but no one would be able to tell because it's probably just recycle that liquid back to, like, me. But I would definitely be wetting and defecating in that suit, but I would just fight as much as I possibly could if I was him. But it would just look cool because he did that whole, like you're saying, he ducked under him and it barely grazed his overshield, and then he just punches him right in his dumb alien face, and I was like, yes, that's what I want. So I'm hyped for it. I'm also skeptical because it's taken so long for us to get here, and the fact that it's not on, we'll say, a major network, a little weary about it. Now, Paramount hasn't let me down too much as far as I can remember with any of the content that I've seen on there, original content. But this is high stakes, like, you need to nail like 98.37% of this, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be a very high level of finality that you met on this, and there's no cutting corners when it comes to things. And now having older looking technology doesn't actually bother me. And you saw Warthog, which looked super dope. You saw what looked to me the side of a tank. I was like, I think that's a tank. So I'm
Could be
good.
a Scorpion, yeah.
I'm like, all right. And I saw the picture of the Tahoe, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me that they have old world technology. But man, oh man, I do hope they stick the landing on a lot of it, because to your point earlier, and this will be the last thing before we wrap it up because we're running over, I hope they just do a good enough story that maybe some special effects don't really take away from it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want Master Chief clearly shadow boxing and then they just kind of throw in a Covenant person there, or a Covenant alien. I want it to look good when they do those, but I also don't want Master Chief looking like a fucking ragdoll doing crazy, shitty fucking special effects.
Right.
What are you staring at?
So I pulled up a picture because you've mentioned the Tahoe a couple times. So I pulled up a picture of the Tahoe, and you're right. It's literally just a fucking truck sitting in the background. It looks weathered. So yeah, it looks like, hey, this is just. It'd be weird that it's older technology, but it looks like it might be purposefully put there, not accidentally put there. But then I realize if you search for it and you look at the image, there's somebody dead in the like middle background that is literally just missing a leg.
Fuck yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dog dismemberment. Because, I love that shit in Halo Infinite.
Let me see if I can just, like, drag the image over to...
Oh, it's a messenger?
Yeah.
All right, we'll look at that now. We have to wrap up because I got things to do.
Yeah, you gotta go watch fucking Jackass.
Yeah, be a jackass and watch Jackass. Anyhow, comes naturally. We are
Joe.
I have been Cody. This has been us. This has been this week's episode, everybody. And as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.